Welcome back to the Noise Podcast. Live from Queens, New York, we are here for week 12 of the show. This season, we're pulling back the curtain on the grind of betting an entire NFL season. With an analytical approach, real-time reactions, and an honest look at the highs and lows, each episode gives you a seat at the table as the NFL season unfolds. Whether you're betting alongside us or just here for the sweat, welcome back to the Noise.
Analytics don't work. Smart guys wanted to fit in, so they made up a term called analytics.
The analytics don't mean anything in football. Take those numbers and you can make them say whatever you want.
The numbers, basically. What do they mean? The numbers, basically. What do they mean?
All right, we're going to jump right into it for week 13. Got a action-packed show planned for you guys today. We'll go over some picks for week 12. We'll go over some macro thoughts. And I do have a special guest for this episode of the show. Brendan, welcome in. Brendan's my good friend and a pretty sharp bettor himself. So, Brendan, welcome to the Noise.
Thanks, Max. Thanks for having me. Max and I met through work, actually, both working at the same company on the underwriting side, and became friends when we both found out that we're both ball knowers. So it's
exactly
been a good time, and Max is doing a great job with this stuff. And I'm happy to be here.
Appreciate it. Yeah, this is the everlasting challenge to try to stop working corporate and become a professional gambler.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. So we want to talk about week 12. We want to get into what we're looking at. But first, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about what your process is like, right? We just talked about, right? We're working every day, right? We're not sitting there crunching numbers all day and night. So where are you able to find your edge in the market?
Yeah, obviously we talked about earlier, it's a lot tougher now. You'll see lines typically are just sitting there all week from opening, unless you're, betting circa or penny or whatnot. A lot of it is injury-based, weather-based stuff because, like you said, the data's already there. We know pretty much everything you know about most of the teams in the NFL, who's going to be there, who's not, based off of, how it's played out so far.
Right, yeah. So, something that I do, and I'm always in the Discord, every Sunday night or Monday morning. And remember, the only place to get all of my picks in real time is in the Discord. So make sure you jump in there. Link will be in the description of this podcast on YouTube, as well as on Spotify and Apple Music. So, when we're in the Discord, we're talking about stuff, and you and I are talking about stuff as well. Are you finding yourself betting more often earlier in the week or later in the week? And then if you can, kind of talk about how this part of the season is different than the beginning.
Yeah, you want to be obviously betting early in the market just to essentially beat the market, get the best number. But again, things change, injuries pop up, weather pops up, all that. Right now, what I'm focused on is, obviously, aside from analytics, I can give you some stuff. Actually, one bet that both of us had last week with Bills -5.5 against the Bucks. One of my biggest non-analytic plays, I guess you could call, is just a team like the Bills the week before against the Dolphins. They were 10-point favorite at Miami, and they get absolutely demolished on the road. Obviously, that doesn't say much about the team. We know they're still good. If they play Miami again, guess what? The spread would probably still be 10 points, 10.5 points. So one of the spots that I like the best is a team like that, the Bills, coming off a huge loss as a big favorite on the road and coming back as a home matchup against the Buccaneers, 5.5. I just thought, I don't really listen much as to the Bills, that one game, because we've had a full season of data coming in of how strong they are offensively. And you can see right off the bat, just throughout the game, Allen, 6 touchdowns, almost 400 total yards.
Ridiculous. I think he had 57 fantasy points or something.
Yeah, and the week before, they did absolutely nothing. James Cook did nothing against the Dolphins, who, debatably could be one of the worst defenses in the league. So that's one of the spots I like the most, back at home against the Bucs team with a lot of injuries. 5.5, not a crazy number. It's within a touchdown. And I know we both talked about that. So that's one of the spots I like, is coming back to a team that might have, had a really bad outing the week before.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll get into it this week. I already took it today. The Lions, 10.5 against the Giants. I think similar spot with the Eagles. We'll just look at it, actually watching the game. They were 0 for 4, 0 for 5 on fourth downs.
Yeah.
Right there. That's 4
bad
turnovers.
Luck,
That's 4 turnovers right there. You convert 2 of those, we're looking at a whole different ball game here. And I know the Eagles are a really good team. They're Super Bowl favorites right now. But again, I mean, that stuff, if you convert just 2 of those, I
Yeah.
think you're going to find more luck, when it comes to that. And a team against the Giants, or a team like the Giants too. Jameis at the helm, maybe Dart's back, who knows? But either way, I think the Lions at home are in a really good spot there.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot to unpack. I think we want to like jump back quickly to like conceptually, like how we're doing that, right? Like you have a spot with the Bills where they are, minus 5.5 against Tampa. They end up closing 6.5, right?
Mm-hmm.
But part of the reason why we're doing that, like, it's not to say that, okay, they just lost the big game, automatically bet them the next game. It's more to say, like, is the market overreacting to that loss, right? If you view the Bills like we do, right, not only is it a good spot, and maybe we give them some situational credit in that case, right? But we're arguing, hey, this should be 6.5, which is where it closed. So 5.5, we're gonna play that.
Yeah.
And that's mostly as a result of maybe a market overreaction or perhaps just a line opening up in a place that you don't want it to be. So for me, I guess, like, bringing it around right to the Lions, I don't know that I'm going to be on that side, right? Because it's a rating perspective. If anything, I don't know. Are the Lions 10.5 points better than the Giants at the Giants? I mean, the Giants don't really have like home field, or it's at Detroit.
It's at Detroit. That's another reason. I mean, we talked about it last night. Goff, cold weather QB. It's 40 degrees out, and he's shivering.
Oh my God!
Back at home, I think it's a real good spot.
Does he always wear 2 gloves?
No.
I guess
outside,
before.
maybe. I don't know if it was wet or what.
Yeah,
but,
I was watching the game, and like he had multiple throws that, like, almost all to Amon-Ra, where like I felt like he was short.
12
or
targets
he was,
and 2 catches, just
and I'm
crazy.
Like, why are you wearing 2 gloves?
Yeah.
Like, isn't the ball sticking to your hand? I mean,
when you're not used to wearing gloves too, I mean, it's got to be a big switch up. So
I'm sure he didn't wear the same like sticky gloves the wide receivers were wearing, but like, I don't know. I just like there was multiple throws that he made that, like, if I'm him or I'm his coach, like, don't I at least suggest, hey, like, maybe take off the right glove? Like, I don't know. Goff is not the best quarterback in the world. I don't even think he's a top 15 quarterback without this offense. But I don't think he's this inaccurate, right?
No,
like,
definitely not. I mean, coming off a game like that too, outdoors, he's back in Detroit in the Dome. I think he's gonna, like I said, coming off a spot like that, horrible game, probably his worst of the season.
Yeah,
I think they're in tune to beat the Giants, who had a good game against Green Bay. Lost by 7. I forget what it closed at, but they
7.
Yeah, 7. Okay, so
pretty
much right.
There's a lot of 7.5s at the end. So I got 7. There was 6.5 for maybe 30 seconds at some point during the week, which I didn't get.
Yeah,
but mostly 7.5s, which kind of got screwed there.
Yeah, exactly. So we're seeing the game back at Detroit with Jared Goff, and if we want to get into it, I mean, the Giants, EPA-wise, success rate on defense, they have a great D-line, but they cannot stop the run for anything. And I mean, you got 2 great running backs here with Gibbs and Montgomery that are going to be able to run the rock.
Yeah, and, I mean, they're
Deontay Banks isn't covering Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, there's some issues there in the secondary.
They're the single worst rush defense in the league, right? The secondary is horrific, right? Cordell Flock is not good. I think Paulson Adebo isn't even playing at this point. Like, it's just a really bad secondary. And if they can't get any pressure, which, with the Lions' offensive line injuries, I'm sure there will be a couple, pressure spots, but this offense is going to be schemed too well for this.
Yeah, and on top of that too, Detroit's defense, I mean, they're as opposed to last year. Last year was like the tale of 2 cities. I mean, that defense was absolutely horrible, injuries, all that.
Yeah, I mean, your argument right there is that's the Hutch factor, right? Like,
exactly.
How much does one defensive lineman really impact a team? Like, we talk about that a lot with, like, how does a player impact a team, right? Like, if a star wide receiver goes down, should you really adjust the team all that much? But as we've seen with teams on an aggregate, like, season-long basis, but also on an individual game basis, your star pass rusher is worth a good amount to a point spread. And obviously with Aiden Hutchinson, the Lions are pretty much back.
Yeah, exactly.
That being said, though, I do think whether it's Jameis or Dart, which at the point of recording we don't know yet, I'm leaning it's going to be Winston. I mean, I'm rating them pretty much the same at this point. I think they're still going to be able to push the ball. I don't think the Lions are a top 10 defense. It's not like they're going to be, it's not like they're going to be stopping the Giants in the way that we've seen that offense get completely slowed up. So despite being inefficient, I do think they're going to push the ball. And, if they get an explosive play or two, right, to get over the total of 49.5, to me, I think Giants only need to put up 17 points. So I'm leaning that way.
Yeah, totally agree.
Actually, I'm not just leaning that way. You've walked me right into my ad read. This is actually going to be my Sweet Gains frozen lock. We've had some really bad luck with the frozen locks this year. My overall record for the season has been great. We're up over 25 units for the season, but for some reason, every time I give out the frozen lock on this podcast, it loses. So last week it was Green Bay -7, which pushed.
Yep.
So I feel like we're on track. We're getting
getting
there.
closer, yeah.
I'm legitimately like 1-7-1 on these, which is unbelievable. But we'll go for our Sweet Gain frozen lock for week 12, brought to you by Sweet Gains. Sweet Gains is a protein ice cream company providing a high protein, low calorie option to help you with your fitness goals. And that will be this week, Detroit and New York Giants over 49.5. That's the frozen lock. I really like it. I do more than lean that way. I think, like I said, Giants put up 17 points. This game is going over. I'd play Detroit team total, but you're going to get like a 30.5 or something. And I just have no need. I have no need to play that. I'll just play the total. Take some alts maybe.
Yeah, totally agree.
So we can move down the board a little bit. I'd like to know what are you looking at? Do you have anything that's standing out right now at this point?
Old school handicap that I mentioned earlier today. Another game that I looked at was the Rams and the Bucks. The Rams currently, last I looked, were 6.5 at home against the Bucks.
Yeah.
And I say old school because basically we're coming with the Bucks, who are just all the way up in Buffalo for their game against the Bills, which they got, frankly, destroyed. That game was a lot closer than the score predicted. The Bills had an awful 3 turnovers. Allen threw a pick.
Oh my God,
in
the
their
one
own,
out of the end zone.
Yeah,
where
threw
he
the pick. In their own end zone. They had an awful fumble on the punt return that the Bucks recovered, and then another Allen interception on 4th down that he could have ran for and probably went into the end zone.
Yeah.
So that game was a lot closer than the score had, even then it was 12 points or whatnot. But yeah, aside from that, Bucks going all the way up to Buffalo, back to Tampa for the week, and then out all the way to LA, which you can say LA doesn't have much of a home field advantage, but that whole travel.
The Rams actually are not bad.
Yeah, they've gotten
for
better.
For some reason, the Chargers have no home field, but the Rams actually do. I don't. It's not a lot of data because it's only a couple of years, but the Rams are like a 1.5, and the Chargers are like nothing.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
Aside from the fans, just the whole back and forth, go all the way up to Buffalo, back down to Tampa, and then again changing time zones.
That is
hours.
Old school travel spot.
Old school travel spot. And then you have Rams off back-to-back home games. Tough game against Seattle. Honestly, as they were up, 21-3 or whatever at one point in that game. If you look at the data, you take away those Darnold picks, 2, they had 4 of them. You cut those down to 2 even. They're probably
he was
going
like a minus 15.
They're
EPA
going to walk
something.
away with a win in that game. Stafford, they couldn't do anything. Their success rate was like 39% or something. They were, absolutely awful. The only reason they really got points is because of one of the turnovers was on like the 2-yard line. Like that's just bad football. So you can say the Rams probably had a tough one there, but this Bucs defense, we just saw they just got absolutely boat raced by the Bills.
Jamel Dean is likely to miss now as well.
Yeah,
so.
he's their legit, he's their best corner, one of the best in the league so far. So I think that's a good spot. Yeah, old school, just travel handicap. But again, I think the Bucs are really hurt with the obviously the injuries on offense and now defense too. Maybe Bucky's back. Is Bucky that much of a difference?
It's a running back.
Yeah, it's a running back, not a huge need. So we'll see. Maybe Godwin plays, but again, I don't see.
You can't project Godwin any more than like 50 to 60% of if he's on a snap count in general, he might be, but just in terms of output, right? His first game back is going to be pretty low impact. Bucky, I would expect him to be a plug and play, right? He'll get some boost to the offense, but
Sean Tucker's absolutely lighting it up. Just absolutely crazy.
Baker did look healthy though.
He did. Yeah.
A lot of my handicap, again, a part of the Bills game was that I don't think Baker's healthy, and they had some design runs for him. So I think that's kind of done. Their offense might be starting to round into form, but I agree with you. I think it's a tough spot. It's just a lot of points.
Yeah, it is.
6.5, almost 7. You might even see some 7s pop up before the end of the week.
Yeah.
I wouldn't really recommend buying back there. I kind of like the over in the game as well. I mean,
49.5.
49.5. The strongest point for the Rams defense, right, is their for the Bucks defense is their run stop. And obviously we know Sean McVay and the Rams want to run the ball, right? It's part of their identity, but and they're running all this heavy package with like they're playing a lot of 13, which
The Seahawks do that too, which is
I can't
crazy,
say I've seen really as like maybe it's a new meta in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, Sean McVay has been kind of known for designing the way that a lot of the league ends up playing offense. So really interesting looks that teams don't really know how to match up with because they have really athletic tight ends. I'd love to see actually like the Raiders start to try to run something like that with their guys, but we don't need to talk about them right now.
That would be horrible.
But like point being, you know, they're really versatile and I don't think they're going to get stuck trying to run the ball. And another thing that I think, this is again like a little bit of an opinion that's not data backed. I think Sean McVay wants Stafford to win the MVP. Like, I think not that he will and not that I would bet it, but I think that if there's an opportunity for Stafford to throw 4 touchdowns, McVay is going to let him.
Some of these touchdowns, I mean, you can look at Devontae Adams. I think
Oh my
his
God,
last like 4 catches have been
2 yards.
Yeah, 2 yards.
They're running
touchdown.
the same play every time and no one can guard it. It's like the reverse of that Seahawks play where like when everyone's like giving to Marshawn and you know they threw the pick. Like it's the exact reverse of that. But they're just running the in-breaking route so quickly that no one can do it. And if they don't throw it to him, well, then they just hand it off to Kyron or one of the tight ends in the flat. So
I mean, it's crazy with them, not to get off topic, but I'm just looking at what they've done, winning the Super Bowl, trading all their picks away to get Stafford, get Von Miller, win the Super Bowl, and then have 2 years, actually not even 1 year of poor play. They made the playoffs in 2023. 1 year of actual poor play of football, and now they're already back in the Super Bowl conversation.
I mean,
and they have all the draft picks in the world. They have Atlanta's draft pick,
first round
yeah, it's just like the most hilarious thing of all time. I don't know. They're in QB hell over there, but I mean, just what the Rams did, the complete winning the Super Bowl, 1 down year, and then it's just not even a rebuild, a reload. I mean, they went back to the playoffs immediately, 2023, 2024, and now
where do you rank the Rams in the NFC as far as power rating?
I mean, the way that I don't agree, but the market's got obviously Philly at 1, which I mean, I can't. Their defense is
unreal.
You know, it's looking
Jalen
like
Phillips looks great.
Yeah, it's an unbelievable trade again. But it's looking like their 2023 season where the offense was unstoppable.
Yeah.
They were scoring, 5th in EPA per play, whatever, success rate, all that. And their defense was bottom of the barrel. They had no corners. They had, guys out there that James Bradbury, like guys that just, are past their prime.
Yeah.
And now we're looking at the exact opposite where their defense is, debatably might be, Broncos, them. It might be the best in the league, or at least one of them, especially with Jalen Phillips last night. I mean, they absolutely shut down the Lions 2 nights ago. So I just don't know if without being able to play on both sides of the ball, I just don't know if I can have the Eagles up there. But I mean, with the way the Rams are playing there, I would probably put them as number 1 in the NFC.
They are my number 1. They are the market number 1, albeit by a very slim margin, right? If you're looking at just NFC futures, they're pretty neck and neck. They are the odds-on favorite to win the championship, the conference championship and the Super Bowl. So they are the favorite.
I thought the Eagles were. I was looking at today.
I'm just looking at DraftKings quickly.
FanDuel. Okay. FanDuel had the Eagles like 5-1 or something.
Let's aggregate the market really quick.
Let's take a look.
One of these days, I'll start plugging like the sites I use for this stuff, but no sponsors yet. So no free sponsorships on the Noise Podcast. But once one of these websites wants to reach out and
totally
talk to me about sponsorship, we can. Like, I tell you what tools I'm using.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. FanDuel is a low mark actually for the Eagles to win the Super Bowl at 5-1.
Okay, yeah.
DraftKings says 6-1.
I'm not in agreement with that, but I mean, if I can see it because the guys that if Hurts starts clicking, it will like last year, and if Saquon gets going too, I mean that defense is going to be tough to beat. But again, I like the Rams up there. I want to say the Seahawks, but again, their 3 toughest games they've lost. They've lost to the Bucks.
Yeah.
They've lost to the Niners and now the Rams. I mean, it's tough to really say how good of a team you are when the 3 toughest games you've played you've lost. And all were close and probably winnable games. And
this was the Vikings argument for letting him go, right? It's like if Sam Darnold has that magical, regular season and then he wins multiple playoff games and he's a superstar, you have a really hard time, letting him go.
Yeah.
But now you're seeing again in the big games, he's kind of not showing up. And I do think, again, it's still a bit of a small sample size to say that like he can't play up at all, but so far he really hasn't, and that's my biggest concern.
It's been
with
tough.
the
I mean,
Seahawks.
yesterday that was just the epitome. 4 interceptions. That was absolutely brutal. He had some great plays too.
Yeah.
Like throws to, he's got JSN, who's just been absolutely unbelievable. And
the depth is still concerning too at wide receiver.
it
Outside
is.
of
they got
JSN,
Shahid, but is Shahid really that much of a
he's a good
difference
player.
maker?
I
Yeah.
like him, but he's a positive impact. right?
Totally. I totally agree. But
If JSN gets banged up at any point, right?
oh yeah, you're looking. I mean, I like their running backs, Walker and Charbonnet, but again, I don't think they're really moving the
This
needle.
is the most frustrating, and like I'm not a huge fantasy guy anymore. I mean, I do a lot of DFS. I don't do a lot of DFS like content.
Yeah.
But I play a lot of DFS, like literally trying to get better at it. And like Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet are pretty much 50-50 split in the backfield.
Yeah.
But and I know when you watch them, it doesn't seem this way, especially because Kenneth Walker has so many massively negative runs that just come out of nowhere. But he is so much better than Charbonnet. It's ridiculous.
Charbonnet's all the touchdowns too.
It's just so annoying because you have the superior player, right? His yards after contact is better, but his worst luck, his yards before contact is significantly lower. And are you telling me Charbonnet is exponentially more elusive in the 30-second, the 3 milliseconds that he has before they touch him?
No, I totally agree.
know.
I haven't been able to figure it out. I mean, those are two guys you just avoid in fantasy, and touchdown
yeah.
props, whatever it may be.
It's just brutal. And whenever they pop up on some sims to play for DFS, I just you know what? Actually, I do want to talk about that really quick before we get into some other games. Well, let's close off here. So you're on the Rams minus 6.5 this week.
Yeah, Rams minus 6.5.
Yeah.
And then we have Lions minus 10.5 as well.
All right.
I got a couple more.
We'll get into a couple more picks. I'm just gonna keep track of your plays here.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we can review them at the end. But so DFS, right? You're playing in the Noise DFS contest.
First year.
Yeah, first year. How's that going? How are you making lineups? What's your approach to that?
So I had never done this before. I've never done Dynasty. Fantasy has always been redraft for me. Years and years I've been playing.
Right.
Obviously, you reached out, and I at first had no idea even what it was. I truly did not know, but I wanted to, get in on some action and help out you, and it seemed like it would be something that's fun. But yeah, first year, I mean, I'm pretty simple when it comes to, I'm in 6th right now, I believe, full year.
Yeah,
so I'm doing pretty well out of 75 guys. So
Yeah.
it's a pretty big pool. So I've been doing pretty well. Only 1 cash though, which I was looking through. Some of those top guys have 2, 3, 4 cashes. So I got to step my game up a little bit. But yeah, one of the things that I look at first is just go on FanDuel, DraftKings, or whatever. Whatever guys you're really looking for, look at the totals that they're playing in.
Yep.
If you last week, for instance, I mean, you got the Broncos and the Chiefs. The total was 44.5 or 43.5, whatever it was. You can go Rashee Rice, Mahomes, but again, I mean, the market's really telling you that there's not going to be crazy explosive plays, touchdowns, all that stuff. So I mean, again, I'm looking at plays. For instance, we had the Niners and the Cardinals. It closed at 49.5. Right. And I mean, those are games you got to look at. Those are guys you want. Specifically, Jacoby Brissett. That's a guy who's coming in as a second time for the year as a backup. He's going to be low priced on the. I think he was 5,000 or whatever, which for a QB, we won't get into the numbers and whatnot, but it's pretty cheap on the cheaper end. But it's a guy, you got a total that's 49.5.
Right.
The spread was relatively close. It was under a touchdown. So, I mean, there's going to be points on both sides.
Right.
And you have Marvin Harrison, who is now out. So, Michael Wilson, the other receiver that they have, not really a known guy, but he can make plays, ends up with, 37 points or whatever.
It's ridiculous.
10 catches, whatever, 180 yards.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first things I do is just find games with totals that are going to match the play that you want, which is obviously scoring. So I try to do that. You can go off of bad defenses, whoever's playing the Bengals, whatever, you're gonna get a high total there. But prioritize totals that are gonna again give you the output that you want. You can have this week you have the Seahawks and Titans, the total's like 38.5 or something.
Yeah.
You can look in and grab JSN, but again, it's going to cost you close to 10K. And again, you're looking at a total that's 30.5 points.
Right.
And
What's the point?
if they're running through them, then it's probably going to be done. He's not going to get.
Well, you saw that other game where the Seahawks had 35 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, and it's over.
Like 3
Yeah,
catches.
nothing. Exactly. So I'd be very weary of those totals that are below 45.5 or whatever. So.
Actually, those two games are a really nice example that I want to make. Like, when you're talking about game state, so that's something that I look for, right? Like, I kind of like do a lot of simming and stuff like that. There's like tools I use to try to. I do props based off of that as well. Like, so I usually run like a sim to get a lineup together. But if I'm making a lineup by hand, let's say from an individual basis, like looking at a game state is very important, right? Because you have that Arizona and San Francisco game, and it was close in terms of the point spread at 3.5. But like we all knew that Arizona was extremely banged up, like defensively. So the Niners putting up points was almost a given. And the argument was going to be, can the Cardinals keep up? Which to an extent they did. I mean, they kind of got blown out.
Yeah.
But the whole point being, right, Jacoby Brissett has thrown over 45 passes the last 2 weeks.
Yeah,
like
52 this week. Most
and he's going to
completions
continue
ever.
to do it.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be the thing because their defense is so banged up that they're going to keep going down. They're going to be in these massive deficits.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to keep up.
Yeah.
And they're going to throw 30 times, in the second half.
Yeah.
So if you got any semblance of offense in the first half, right, that second half number is going to really, really pick up. And it's a good, like, dichotomy versus the Titans, right? Because they are going to go down 30-0 in a halftime, more than likely. But that offense can't move the ball.
No.
So that's not a spot where, generally I want to look for these teams that are going to need to crawl back in games and they're going to get a garbage time, whatever, the Blake Bortles Jaguars are the most famous for this, right? Just covering spreads, backdoor, getting totals, great for DFS. But you got a team like the Titans, they're just not going to do that because they suck.
No, they're gonna roll over, and that's a good point because you have these teams that come in and again, I mean Cam Ward. First year, we're not going to rip him up too much, but he's not going to be fighting and keeping these Titans in the game. It's just not going to happen. So that's one of the key things to look at.
They just don't have the offensive ability.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I hate to say, okay, just blindly bet the Seahawks minus 13 because but I just know the Titans can't keep up with that game.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I agree.
That's one where I look at like hopefully Sam Darnold throws a pick 6 on the first possession, and then I could just start pressing Seahawks. Or like maybe the Titans have like a nice scripted drive. The Seahawks come in a little bit underprepared because they don't care, and then we get Seahawks minus 10, and we just press it.
No, I totally agree. But yeah, aside from the totals, value plays again, I do think fantasy redraft and even dynasty maybe is going away from quarterbacks don't have too much value. I mean, we saw it this past week, Josh Allen getting 45 points in one game. When you have a guy like that can score 6 touchdowns in one game, that can absolutely light up the scoreboard with his legs, all that stuff. I do think quarterbacks are very valuable. Switch over to DFS. Allen's going to be priced at, I haven't looked this week, but 8 to 10 grand every single week.
Yeah,
it's just not worth it to vouch for those blow up games because you're spending so much money and then you're starting Bam night at your RB2.
Right.
So I try to avoid that. Quarterbacks, I go for a really low end guy, like you said, Jacoby Brissett, who's going to be throwing the ball 100 times a game. Another guy too was that early in the year, Jackson Dart, because he's going to use his legs.
Right. Nobody knows about him
had
really.
8 rushing touchdowns in all his games this year. Probably one of the reasons why he's out with a concussion. But horrible.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, the low end quarterbacks that have the ability to, again, claw back from games, throw a lot of passes, get a lot of runs, I think that's where you're going to find a lot of value there.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too because like when you play a sport, when you play a game like DFS, right? You are, you're obviously trying to win, right? But there's no value in getting 10th place or whatever. And like, in like our season long competition, there is like a different kind of mentality, right? But if you're playing in these big GPP style stuff where like, you're trying to win the $1 million, right?
Yeah.
There's absolutely no difference between you getting in last place and you being like, 1,000th place. Like, I mean, it's a couple bucks, but like reality wise, like if you're going to play one lineup, You need to be highly, highly contrarian, because if that Bryce Young stack with the Panthers, when they score 12 points every other game, it doesn't work. But when they don't score 12 points and they score 37 in overtime,
Ted's getting 38 points.
Exactly. And now you have all that cheap value that hopefully your stud guys that you backfill with, they actually play up to the number, right? I mean, JSN has for the most part done it. Maybe, Jamar Chase isn't always worth it, or Jefferson isn't always worth it, but you get that right combination of 99th percentile outcome for your cheap guys and just 50th percentile outcome for your expensive ones. Yeah. Then you have a pretty good lineup.
Which a good play too, that just to build off that. Oh, sorry. Just to build off that, this on top of that is stacking players too. I saw it this week. I think one of the top guys, he did, I think both Steelers running backs. So we had Jalen Warren and then Kenneth Gainwell. You're saving a ton of money overall.
Yeah.
And because Kenneth Gainwell is not worth anything. He's a backup, and Warren's, $6,000 guy. But, mid to high end running back. But again, Gainwell is your RB2. Jalen Warren goes out with an injury, still gets you 10 points, and then Gainwell goes off for 32
really
points
interesting
or
lineup
whatever.
builds. I know the Bengals, right, are one of the worst rush defenses as well. They're not as bad as the Giants on I think EPA, but they have given up the most touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's really bad.
So, try to find, just find running backs going against the Bengals if you really want to. But again, too, another strategy, taking maybe not the wide receiver 1, but the wide receiver 2. So big play. I mean, it hasn't really worked out this year that well, but last week, T. Higgins over Jamar.
Yep.
Again, they're playing Pittsburgh. Pretty rough defense. Again, you figure Flacco was going to throw it a lot, which, to be honest, they were horrible. But T. Higgins still got one touchdown, ended with 16 points. And Jamar, who cost, $9,500 and ended up with, 3 points or whatever.
Yeah.
So just always be cognizant of that, because if you do have your top guy getting you 3 points, I can assure you that you're probably going to lose.
Yeah.
It's going to be really tough to claw back.
That's a good thing to look at too. Like when you're talking about wide receiver 1 or 2 or 3, and how you're going to, again, if you're building a lineup by hand, right, you want to kind of get into that stuff. And that's kind of how my prop approach changes throughout the year. Like in the first part of the season, I'm heavily relying on the sim I run to get props together, right? Because then I get my projections, I run the projections through a simulator, right, to try to get an ROI together for each prop. But later in the season, now that we understand tendencies a little bit better, we understand what teams are trying to do, I will lean a little bit off of it, just because our data is very efficient, but so is the sports books. So now I'm really trying to find more quantitative angles, qualitative angles. Like for example, right, Monday Night Football, George Pickens went absolutely bananas against the Raiders. And we kind of picked this up because in looking at previous games, right, what do the Raiders defense play, or cover 3? And how do the Cowboys approach a cover 3 defense? And a lot of times, the times that they've played them, which has been twice through the season where they played a heavy cover 3 defense, they pressed the George Pickens button. He's had over 100 yards both times. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that that's a sample size that means that, it's definitely going to happen. Yeah. But, you can kind of start to pick up on tendencies in the sense that, hey, I think that the team is going to do this a little bit more often than implied. And if, like I said, if Pickens' line was at 99, I wouldn't have played it, even though he got 100 something. But you have his line at 70 or 64, right? Which is kind of in line with where it is every week. I think they're going to lean on him.
Yeah.
Right.
Then against the bad defense too. I mean,
of course. I think it should have been adjusted a little bit more, but that's the argument, right? They're going to press that button. And you could do that in DFS as well, right? Identify what teams do against certain types of coverages. Obviously, any game can, game state can change and whatever. But, that's kind of the best you can do. And then you adjust. You bet off of it.
Yeah. Find the guys that, like you said, the 2s that probably could be playing as a 1 and they're not priced like it. Like Pickens. I mean, again, he could, with CD's not there, he could be the 1 on a lot of teams.
Right.
No, I totally agree.
But yeah, that's a little DFS chat for this
to get
episode.
That in.
Yeah, of course.
Looking to finish the year strong. We got, 6 weeks left, just about.
Should be seven total weeks, including this one.
So hopefully we can finish strong there. I'm in 6th. I think it's top 5 payouts or whatever.
Yeah, top 5 payout for the season. Payouts every week.
Again, like you said, I'm coming in 10th every week.
Yeah,
and it's not really doing you much because I have 1 cash. I think I paid for the league dues with it, but you coming in 10th is it's not really gonna win you much. So I got to step it up. But
well, it might win you more next year when we expand it. Right, this is
Yep.
a public competition. So
Very
this is
true.
I'm already starting my promo for 2026.
Yeah.
Make sure you join the Noise DFS.
yeah,
contest.
it's a lot of fun. Again, first year, first time. It's been a blast. I've had a lot of fun.
That's what I always
So,
tell people too. I'm like, they don't know how to play DFS, or like they've never seen a season long DFS structure.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, it's so much fun.
It
like
is. It's a
I hate
blast.
fantasy football, like regular fantasy.
Traditional
now.
redraft can be super annoying. I'm
Yeah,
going
it's
through it.
all
You got
luck.
4 leagues. A lot of it's luck based.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, let's keep down the line. I want to just like be cognizant of the time, but looking at the week 12 slate, anything else standing out to you or things you've bet already?
Yeah, I think we talked about it earlier today. Is one of the overs that we were both talking about was the Carolina. Who are they playing? Sorry, I'm already drawing a blank.
The Carolina
Niners.
Niners
Sorry,
game,
Carolina
yeah.
49ers. Yeah, that one stood out. It opened at 46.5. That got
Missed that.
bet.
Yeah, missed that.
Again, if you're not betting Circa and Penny, it's gonna be really
Well, you can
tough
bet
to-
those soft. I mean, you can bet the
Yeah.
soft openers at the soft books. If
Yes,
you have,
very true.
obviously, if
yeah,
you
it
don't
can be
have
low limits, but it's gonna be.
like for us,
Ooh,
you know
I'm
what
not
I
a high
mean?
limit
Like,
guy.
Yeah,
Exactly.
like you can get down $500 on Monday night. Like
Exactly. So I like that one. Obviously, the market did too. Went from 46 to 47.5. I
Yeah.
jumped on at 47.5. It's now up to 48.5.
49.5.
And I told you it was going to go. I thought it would close at 48.5, but it has jumped
Yeah.
significantly. One of the main reasons for that is obviously the way that both teams played last week. I mean, Bryce Young, just night and day from his rookie year to now. He's been absolutely unbelievable.
good for him.
I know, because it was a
Good
tough
for him.
start, and everyone
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, Stroud, he was the play," which Stroud, that's still
Yeah,
up for debate.
talent-wise, yes. Still,
That's still up
Stroud.
for debate. We'll see. But yeah, Bryce Young's been lighting it up, and against the Falcons defense, who had been up to now was pretty good. Even held the Patriots in check, only 27 points or whatnot. Who's one of the highest scoring offenses in the league.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Bryce Young's coming in with a rookie wide receiver and 10 catches,
I mean,
whatever,
the offense is
180
terrible.
yards.
Like,
yeah.
the skill. Obviously, Ted is a big difference
Yeah.
maker, but the skill room.
I mean,
it's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad. Jalen Coker, he's.
I'm a fan. I think
Yeah,
Coker's the
it's-
real deal, but
He's an FCS guy, though. It's like,
Yeah.
come on. But
Leggett is terrible.
Leggett's awful,
I mean,
yeah,
they had Renfro out there. They have no tight ends.
Yeah,
but-
it's bad. I mean, you can say Dowdle, but again, it's a running back. Let's be real.
Dowdle has been a surprise, though. I'll give them that.
So on that angle, I mean, if and then on the other side you have the Niners, who offensively have been, I mean, Purdy's back, and it looks like he didn't really miss a step against probably a bad team. But again, McCaffrey's lighting it up. Kittle's back and healthy finally.
Right.
Juwan Jennings, even him, is playing very well. They seem to be an offense again with Kyle Shanahan that is what it's always looked like, which is explosive, very good. And then on the opposite side, their defense, which again, you never really think of this, has been absolutely horrible this year. I think EPA wise, they're like bottom 25 success rate, same thing.
Yeah.
They've been absolutely horrible.
Injuries.
Injuries, yeah. Again, Fred Warner's out, Nick Bosa's out, the two best players right
Travis
there.
Ward. I
Yeah.
mean, they've missed multiple games, and I mean, a lot of these guys are out for the season.
Yeah.
Fred Warner, obviously, you mentioned.
Bosa again. Salah has been doing his best, and I do love Salah. I think he's one of the better defensive coaches in the league. But when you don't have the guys, similar to what happened to Detroit last year, you don't have the guys. I mean, when you're starting practice squad cornerbacks, you're absolutely done for. So I think that's a big angle. Is that defense is just it's decimated.
Yeah.
They're down, and with Bryce Young playing like this, I do feel as if they can be able to move the ball.
Yeah.
Big spread. It's 7 points or whatnot, right?
I mean, it's, 6.5,
Yeah, 6.5,
7 as well. But especially with the Panthers' offensive line holding up from a pass protection standpoint more than expected. And obviously, we talked about the run. The run game has been better than expected. I worry a little bit about Carolina with the pace.
Yeah.
I think they like to play a slower game, but Purdy looked fine. And I'm really glad Purdy had a good game too, because I think he's better than Mac. I think that there's been a lot of conversation around just because Mac's been okay, should Purdy even start when he came back? So I'm happy that Purdy had that start where you're like, oh yeah, no, this guy
it's night
is
and day
better.
difference. Yeah, and that's what people say too. I was hating on it early in the year too when Joe Burrow goes down, Flacco comes in, has a few big games. it's just not. It's a small sample size. It's never going to be a long time solution. And you saw it this week against Pittsburgh. A defense that he decimated early in the year. They put up 10 points or whatever.
Yeah, I mean their line is horrific as well.
Again, there's other factors into it, but I mean Purdy and Mac, they're not comparable.
Yeah, I don't think it's that wide, right? I don't think it's a Burrow to Flacco difference, but it is worth a couple points, and I'm happy that Purdy looked good out of the gate, and I think the offense is going to continue to flow well, which, again, if you get into that game state where Carolina is controlling the ball, controlling the tempo, they could play a little bit slowly, and you have an outcome like that Packers game where, Packers are the most efficient offense in the league, but they don't have the ball. They can't do anything. Couple turnovers really ruined that. But I do think the 49ers are going to be efficient and aggressive enough, at least in the first half, to try to put up points and protect their poor defense instead of lean on it like the Packers would. So I like that play. I'm a little bit salty. I missed the good number, so I didn't play it personally, but I do like that. Even at 48.5, I think you enter a game state where this could easily be a 60-point game.
Yeah, totally agree. And I'm trying to think of another game I was looking at.
I mean, I'll give you another one that
if you got any, shout them out.
I'll give you one that I gave out in the Discord. And remember, the only place to get all of my picks in real time is in the Discord. Link is in the description, both on YouTube, Apple Music, and Spotify. So I gave out Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles under 50.5. We're sitting at 47.5 right now. Question for you is, do you think the Dallas Cowboys defense is legit, and do you think they're at least better than they have been?
Definitely better. Obviously, getting Quinnen Williams. I mean, last night it was night and day. Before they couldn't get pass rush, couldn't stop the run, do anything. Again, it's the Raiders, so you can't really take much into consideration when it comes to them. But again, Lane Johnson is out. He's out 4 to 6 weeks. He's debatably the best offensive lineman in the league. They're going to have a much better, easier time without him rushing the passer. And Hurts, as good as they've been, he's missing something. I don't know. I mean, I truly do not think he's a good quarterback. Be real.
I think he's all right. I do, but I don't think Patullo is horrific. He's been really bad.
Yeah, their concepts they're running, all that. I mean, the hooks and curls. It's just every route is either it's AJ Brown or Smith down the seam, or it's they're coming back.
They're also one of they're one of the teams that use motion the least. Which again,
but you look at the best offenses. I mean, KOC, McVay, Shanahan, they're running motion. I mean, it's just what it is.
And that's the NFL that we live in, right? If you're not running motion, then your offense is so much more predictable from a defense. So I declare that if you get a Philly Eagles game and the total starts with 5, you click under. I think we've reached that point in the season for whatever reason. Because the offense has enough name talent, or every so often they put up a really good game. We're still seeing 50, right? But like, if we get another game where we see 50 for the Eagles, I don't care who they're playing. I mean, the Cowboys are like the third best offense in the league.
Yeah, we were talking about that
even
earlier.
if it's Detroit,
which we just saw. It was that total was 50 and a half as well.
You got to. I played the over, but click under. We're clicking
the Green
under
Bay
on
game,
everything.
same thing. I mean, I totally agree. Just between their offense and again their defense is with Phillips has been absolutely unbelievable. And DeJean started off a little slow this year, but he's kicked in a gear. Quinyon Mitchell, same thing. I mean, that's just both of them are.
Yeah, I mean, Quinyon Mitchell went from a guy that I felt like teams were targeting to like, he just locked up Amon-Ra St. Brown like 1-on-1 all day.
I know. Last year, after having such a great rookie year last year, which cornerback in the NFL, that's the biggest variance year to year, which I always hate when they're signing big names to big contracts.
Yeah, it's one of the most difficult positions to play.
It's very tough, and a lot of it is scheme, and then who you're going against. So I always hate seeing those big contracts for cornerbacks.
I always think about Janoris Jenkins. When I used to be a Giants fan back in the day, just like when I saw that, I was like, what are we doing?
Even go back way further, Nnamdi Asomugha, when he was for the Eagles, absolutely lighting it up, and the Raiders gave him like a super fat contract. Like even back then, like 80 something million. But again, there's so much variance when it comes to that, and they did the right thing. They drafted 2 guys out of college who were very good at their position.
Right.
I mean, that's what they did. They had a need for cornerbacks, and they drafted 2 of them, which
They developed them. They built a system, and they needed pass rushers, so they got pass rushers.
Yep. And now they have Jalen Phillips again, which I just don't know how they keep doing it. But
It's ridiculous.
But no, I totally agree. The under there, obviously the market.
Totally they got crushed. I hate to give out stuff that gets crushed, but again,
it's what it is. But yeah, one of the things too, I guess we'll go into a little bit further about the process, looking at overs and unders. One of the biggest things I look at, and you'll see with the Bills, which is why they're typically a team that's 49.5 every single week. You're going to see the Bills. It's always 49.5, whatever it may be. And last week it opened at, again, like 50.5 against the Bucs, and it fell all the way to 47.5, which I agreed with initially.
Yeah.
But
because you would think, okay, these guys got to keep the ball on the ground. Yes. But
and it opened, the Bucs defense was just absolutely horrible and so many turnovers. But one of the things I look at too with the Bills is explosive play rate.
Right.
They are number 2 behind the Seahawks in explosive play rate week to week. It's like 17% of their plays are going for either 15 yards in a passing or 10 yards in a rush, which obviously is going to equate to more scoring.
Right.
And on the opposite side, on their defense, which is this seems every year it's this, they are dead last in explosive play rate on the defensive side.
Allowed.
They're allowed, yes. They're giving up the most explosive plays in the league. So
I feel like they always seem to need to round into form on the defensive. I mean, the offense as well, but especially the defense. Like, you're not looking at a halfway decent Bills defense until like week 15, 16. I feel like it's every year. And I don't want to be boy who cried wolf, but I feel like I'm more concerned this year than ever. I don't think they will round into form. They won't. Every year, they seem to have a really good pass rush in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And they do have an okay pass rush right now.
Joey Bosa is just like, he's a shell of his old self. Just watching him out there, it's painful. There was a play against the Bucs on one of the Sean Tucker big touchdowns where I was watching it live, and it was a pass. I forget if it was a screen or just a swing pass or whatever. And he just completely gave up and didn't even bother going to tackle him. It's just age. I get
if he's not rushing the quarterback, he's not playing.
Exactly. Like he's a third down guy, third and long. But yeah, that's one of the other things I look at is just the overall explosive profile of a team on the offensive and also defensive side too. And another thing too with the Bills that I'm always weary of, and we always talk about this, is their run rate, which right now they're top 5 in run rate at like 48%. Which again, you have Josh Allen, you have him running, and James Cook, who's a great running back. But again, you want to look at that because obviously running the ball, the clock's moving, not getting as many yards, and that was a big play with me this year with the Falcons. They were. This year, they've been a good play for unders just based off of that. They're running the ball like 52% or something. Yeah. Along with the Eagles, they were top 5 too. So teams that are just going to run the ball more than they throw it. I mean, come on, let's do the math. The clock's going to keep running. It's going to be tougher to score, all that stuff. So I tend to look at that a lot, run rates, passing rate over expected, anything like that.
I think that really helps you get a profile for what the team is trying to do. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
And again, like we're kind of seeing that, new meta in the NFL of like, again, especially against cover 2, right? Everyone's playing this too high shell. Like, it's super adaptive and they can move guys around and stuff, but the best way to play defense now is to play good offense. And that's not only to say to score a lot, it's to hold the ball. Right? And the Chiefs do this, the Bills do this, all the best teams do it, right? They go up 2 scores and they just run.
Yeah.
So, you get a lot of like second half unders for teams like that. The Bills are a great example of that, right? Like, you could go game over because, they're going to get a bunch of explosive plays in the first half, and then you live second half under like a middle because they're just going to hold the ball. They're going to run clock. This year hasn't been great because the defense is so bad. But, in general, you can find kind of opportunities like that to get some different angles in.
Agree. Yeah. And then, just one more thing, too, that, obviously we always talk about advanced analytics and whatnot. EPA,
my favorite thing to do.
Success rate, DVOA, all that stuff. I just want to talk about more of like what I look at comparatively. Yeah. Because there's EPA for everyone. There's EPA for receivers, quarterbacks, offense, defense, all that.
Yeah, I mean they do go per play.
Yeah, it's per play.
You have like it's EPA for wide receivers. I think is a harder metric to.
Like you have CPOE, like completion percentage over expected, and a lot of those, whatever they are, obviously greatly glorified analytics, and a lot of them do speak true. The one I do think is the most useful, maybe not at useful as like a holistic whole level.
Sure.
I think success rate. I mean, just
Yeah.
it really boils down to how well are you moving the ball and how well are you stopping the ball while also stripping out explosive plays. You know, if you have a 80-yard broken play touchdown, your EPA is going to be whatever 7 points on that play.
Yeah.
The success rate's only going to be 100%. But again, if it's a broken play, the EPA is not really
picking that up.
picking that up. Where
Right.
success rate is stripping that out. It's
Right.
a successful play. So I tend, especially for QBs too, I always tend to look at success rate first.
Yep.
Because again, it's stripping out. It's play for play. It's 3rd and 6. Are you picking that up? Are you getting that? It's 1st and 10.
Yeah.
How many yards are you getting here? Are you picking up 7 yards on 1st down? That's going to be a successful play. And I think a lot of EPA and completion percentage over expected has a lot to do with scheme, which we'll talk about. We did earlier with Purdy and whatnot. Great quarterback. Always, for years, has been one of the top guys in EPA per play. But a lot of it is coaching, scheme, and also weapons too. I mean,
Agreed.
And that's why for QBs, I don't really take too much into that because, again, Tua for years with Tyreek was like top 3 in the league. And obviously that's just not how it's going to work.
Window.
Where success rate is down by down. Are you guys moving the ball consistently and scoring touchdowns?
I think that's also an interesting point that you're kind of making too about evaluation, right? Like, what are we doing, right? Like when we're betting on sports, right? We're trying to bet on the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Are we evaluating individual quarterback play? Are we evaluating team play? Like obviously we're doing all of that, but to what extent is that actually impactful to what are the bets that we're going to make? And when you take something like success rate, especially at a team level, that's highly, highly predictive of how well they are playing and how well they can continue to play. Because obviously having a high success rate means that you're running plays that are successful and they will continue to be. So you would hope that your high EPA guys are correlated with your high success rate guys because it should be,
That's
right?
how it should, exactly.
But EPA doesn't EPA picks up the outlier plays on the good, and it doesn't take the outlier plays on the bad.
Yeah.
Which is something we talk about with Jordan Love all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like when he no look slings a pass 80 yards down the field that should be an interception, it's just an incompletion to EPA, but that should actually be oh no, that was horrible.
Yeah. They could pick it up on the adjusted side, but adjusted is mostly just drops too. But that's where people always rip on PFF, and obviously PFF's not perfect. But again, I mean, people don't, I hate on Twitter, the PFF's a joke. These guys are sitting down and watching every play of every game every single day. They go through every single play, every single player, every single game. They have, there's probably 2,000 plays a week between college and NFL. And they're sitting there grading every single guy. And you might not agree with it, but again, they're watching these plays. And a big part of it is they don't know what the assignments are because they don't have intel for that.
Yeah.
So they're it's a holistic view. They're kind of just.
Yeah. But they're one of the only places that are basically public that you can find out what is an evaluation, a qualitative evaluation of any single play.
A big part of it, the grade is people always see, 70%. 70% is like an above average play.
Right, it's percentile.
Yeah, 60% is technically their average, although you think it's 50, but 60 is like their baseline. So when you have a guy that's grading out at 75%, he is an above average player.
Right.
And I think people are equating it to C+.
Like a Madden rating, right?
That, which I think is tough and wrong. And again, when you have the time to break down every single play of every single game, then you can say something. But until someone else does that, it's just what I go back to too, not to get off topic, but 2 years ago when it was the Texans versus the Browns in 2023-2024 playoffs, Stroud's rookie year, Browns had one of the best defenses ever, and the Texans ended up winning 38-10. And I think Flacco graded out higher than Stroud. Stroud had 280 yards, 4 touchdowns. 2 of the touchdowns were 80-yard screen passes.
Yeah.
And it's you're not, if you're a quarterback throwing a 2-yard wide open screen and Joe Mixon takes it 75 yards for a touchdown, you're not going to get a good grade on that play.
But your EPA is going to
be EPA is going to skyrocket. Yeah. And I think that's why people have, box score watchers, we talk about it.
Right.
Stroud threw for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. How did he grade to a 70? It's you got to break down the plays. And that's what they do.
Yeah.
It's not perfect. Trust me. They have a lot of bad grades.
And again, EPA is pretty predictive, right? Yeah. So you sometimes get a little bit of an inflated EPA, but you still have EPA as a predictive metric.
Yeah.
But that being said, like this is actually what I talked about a little bit 2 weeks ago, which I will like maybe try to compare these like conversations, but like it's really important to like use a qualitative approach to your quantitative metrics. Like you should look at all the quantitative metrics, and yeah, you could try to weight them, but while that is, I guess, quantitative, like it's important to understand them, like what they're showing. And you can't just say, hey, like this team is exponentially better than that team because they have higher EPA.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of stuff. And again, that brings
It's matchups too, which is a big part.
yeah,
of it.
and a nice tool like DVOA, right?
Yeah.
That is helpful for you to evaluate against the competition,
Yeah.
right? Relative to who they're playing. Look at the Patriots.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the Patriots have climbed week after week after week in DVOA because they just keep winning, but they're still ranked like 12th.
Yeah, they are the Aaron Schlatt's, I think his name is. He's the guy.
Shots.
Shots. He created it from New England, and he created it because the New England Patriots, when Brady was first winning the Super Bowls, people were claiming that he was not like a check down guy, whatever, which maybe back then he was. But he specifically created to show that he wasn't, and he was like a main driver of the offense, which turned out to be true. I mean, he's like the greatest player ever. But right now the Patriots this year at 9-2, they are the second worst 9-2 team DVOA wise of all time.
Yeah.
Do you know who number one is? It's easy. It's very recent. Very recent.
I don't know. Oh, the Steelers.
No.
Oh, it was like the 95 Cowboys or something?
No, very recent. 2022. Cousins. The Vikings. 2022, and they were like 14-2.
Yeah.
They are second in the worst 9-2 DVOA team of all time to the Vikings. And we all know what happened to that Vikings team. They played the Giants, who were awful.
The Daniel
awful
Jones-led Giants,
and got
baby.
absolutely, they just got decimated. I mean, those stats are there, and they are very predictive, but they often lack still a lot of context, because at the end of the day, it's like, all right, well, who did you play? The Seahawks are number one in DVOA. They go on to the Rams, and the spread's closing at 3.5. You know, they're on the road, but again, it's not that much of a home field advantage travel-wise, and that bad. So, are the bookmakers really still taking a lot DVOA that much into account? What are they? Or like you said earlier, are they looking at like the quarterbacks? Stafford is a lot better quarterback than Darnold, and I mean, that's what the game played out as.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Right. And
Stafford
EPA wouldn't show you that,
Stafford
right?
didn't even play well. He didn't at all.
Right.
Their successor was like 38%. Like, it was awful. They couldn't move the ball. The only reason they really scored was because Darnold was so bad.
Yeah.
So again, and that's the game where I look at, it was 2-point loss. And again, another reason the Rams really did win that special teams, that punt at the end of the game down at the 1, that took away 25 yards or 20 yards of field position. The field goal they kicked was 55 yards or something.
Right.
They
I
even
had
got
+3, so I was happy with either outcome.
Yeah,
but.
exactly. But again, when you look at the games, the Rams, they won. But again, if you put that game in Seattle, I think Seattle's the favorite. I think they're 1.5 points, maybe 2 or whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, you can make that argument that they, aside from back-breaking turnovers, right? They kind of outplayed the Rams.
They did. If you look, again, this is where you strip EPA wise, they did a lot better because
turnovers
are the main driving factor of that, especially when you have one on the 2-yard line.
Right.
That's like -7 right there for Darnold. But if you use success rate, strip all that out, you're going to see the true outcome of the game, where the Seahawks did play very well. I mean, if they shut the Rams down, like they absolutely
after the first quarter.
I mean, Devontae Adams had 1 catch. But Nakua, who's been the best receiver in the league, was absolutely shut down. Yeah. You look on the other side, JSN, 9 catches for 110 yards or whatever, and that's with Darnold throwing the ball away 4 times.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I look at all advanced analytics and all that. But me personally, if you want to see how good a team is, down to down, I'm going to use success rate.
Yeah, I'm just terrified that the Eagles are going to take away a good playoff game from us. Like, I want to see the Rams. I want to see the Lions.
I know.
I want to see the Seahawks.
And then I'm going to have to watch the Bears, who, again, might be the worst team in the league. And this is another point, too. If you look at, this is why also the main point of why I value success rate over EPA. The Bears, if you look at them defensively, are like top 10. At one point, we're like top 5 in defensive EPA. Because turnovers. They're still number 1 in the league. I think they have 17 forced turnovers, which is by far the most in the league, and they've only lost, I think, 3. Yeah. So they're net 14 on turnovers, which is unheard of.
That's right, especially with Caleb, right?
I know too. With a guy, I mean, credit to Ben Johnson and
Yeah.
honestly Caleb too. He dropped his sack ratio last year. I was looking earlier today was 12% or something, which is insane. And he dropped it all the way to 4.5. I mean, he cut it by 3 times.
Yeah.
But again,
and that's not because the line got any better, right? Like
no, it's him.
That's him.
You're
That's
getting the
really
ball out
him.
and better sack avoidance.
Yeah.
But again, you have a team that's top 5 or top 10 in defensive EPA. You're like, oh wow, they're so good defensively. You look at success rate; they were like 29th in the league in
And they're really
success
bad.
rate. They're bad. They're awful.
Yeah.
They have horrible corners. I mean, they're just all over the field. I can't even name a guy on their D line.
Well, they still have. I mean, they're starting 2 cornerbacks that they came into the year with are not playing.
Yeah, Kyler Gordon's out, and then the other who's actually really good. I can't think of his name.
I
But
can't
again,
remember.
Kyler Gordon, who was obviously a good cornerback. I'm drawing a blank on their
Yeah.
one, but I
He's
mean,
on IR,
they are a bad defense, and I think EPA wise is going to tell you this. Success rate is going to tell you
Right.
that. It is now your job to figure out because
What are
turnovers
you
are
really
luck.
looking at?
Turnovers are luck. Like I hate to
Yeah.
say it.
They are.
Yes,
they
you
are.
can, you can say, oh well, they punch the ball out, they play more aggressively. When a ball is jumping on the ground with a bunch with 10, 300-pound linemen like jumping on it, that's a luck factor. It is.
We talk about this all the time. Like forcing fumbles does not make you a good defense. Like it's good for your defense, but it doesn't make you a good defense.
Because because you're punching the ball, whatever, like
Yeah.
it does come down, and that's a big part
It's
of it.
like
so.
if you gave up a 20-yard catch and you punched the ball out, like
Yeah.
great for that game, but like your defensive scheme was not good that you gave up a 20-yard catch.
yeah, and now we're gonna have to watch the Bears get a home playoff game, and it's probably it's
Well, I'm interested in betting a little bit of the Lions to win the NFC North. I don't think the number's all that great.
Yeah.
But if we had a bit of a higher number, I'd be all over that. I don't think the Bears are going to win this division. But
Yeah.
I do think they win this week. We're running up on time, but you have any other plays or games that you want to give out for week 12?
No, that was it. I had the over the 47.5, which is again a stale number. It's gone now. But the Lions 10.5, that was still there. I got it at 110. It might be like minus 120 or something. That's probably going to hover around there. I don't see it.
You can
moving.
actually get a flat 10 in some
I was
places.
going to say it probably is more. But better odds.
Yeah,
Going
you
to
have
10.
you have multiple markets at 10.5 minus 110 though. That's
Okay,
still, that's
yeah,
still
so
good.
it's still there.
Yep.
And then I had Rams minus 6.5.
Yeah.
That's still there.
Rams minus 6.5. You got a little bit of juice, but you can get a 115 or a one.
Yeah.
Like a 114 if Caesars lets you bet. They do not let you bet.
Pretty confident in those. We'll see. It's been it's been a tough year. Last year I had a much better year overall. This year it's just been an even. I mean, I'm going like 2-2, 3-3, like 1-1 every week. It's just brutal. Hopefully the luck switch is back. We'll see. Again, like if you think your process is right and you're just getting on the wrong side of games, like make note of that because you want to know.
Absolutely. You have to evaluate yourself as you're evaluating teams and stuff.
We all had it. One of the worst beats of the year of all time. I mean, the Rams versus the Eagles. I lost so much money on that game. And I sat there and I was like, but this was the right side, like all along. They're up 27-6. Then whatever, the Eagles come back. They're still only going to win by 2, and you're like, okay, that's good.
Fine. I have 6.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, we're good, and you just get that horrible Jordan Davis. Come on, but
I was sitting there like, do I even want to do this?
Yeah,
like,
I lost a lot of money on that.
Is this worth it? Do I really bet on this stuff? Like that was
brutal amounts of money.
That
but
really
again,
hurt.
you got to like look at the process. Of
we were 100% right on that game.
Yeah,
Like,
you gotta. Again, a big thing too. I hate to harp on success rate, but like look at the net success rate of the game. How did the team fare down to down? Was it a lot of turnover luck? Was it this?
Yeah.
I think you have to look in, and if you do see, oh wow, they got like I took the Bears 3.5 or something, and they got demolished like straight up in every facet of the game. Then you look and say, all right, where did I go wrong?
right.
If you see the market moving against you. Obviously,
you could be in trouble.
Yeah,
right?
you could be in trouble, especially this late in the season. But again, like I said earlier, the Bucks opened at like 50.5 last week, dropped to 46.5.
Yeah,
and then it goes over by 100. Yeah. So the market's not always right, but again, that's something you have to look at because it's not always right, but it tends to be.
And when the game starts, that doesn't mean
Betting's over.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything's done, right?
Yeah,
like
you can live.
Yeah, you can
That's some
do
of
a
the easiest,
lot.
yeah.
You can do a lot of stuff. And again, like you could bet all you want. You could bet into a market, and you can get 10 points of CLV and all that stuff. But once that game starts, you got no idea what's gonna happen. It's the NFL.
Totally agree. One last. I don't know how much time we have, but
yeah, we have time for one more, and then we'll
I just want to real quick. Just I guess I know you don't do much college, but college football. It's been a great, unbelievable year. All my futures. I mean, this is like my saving grace. I had I took 3 win totals that all hit already, which is like unbelievable. Halfway through the year, basically, or 3/4 of the year.
Which ones did you have?
I had North Texas over 6.5. That hit. They have an unbelievable quarterback, Drew Nassama. I forget his name. Drew Nassmaster, I believe his name is. But I mean, he's just like unbelievable. A group of 5 kids who probably should be playing in the Power 5. That was 6.5. They're like 8-1 or 9-1 now, and like fighting for a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Like that was just insane. South Carolina under 7.5 wins. That was a bit. Lenore Sellers he's a guy that was it could be a top 5 like QB pick. I don't love him at all. I mean, even last year, a lot of his quality of plays were just like big explosive plays, which in college work a lot more because the defense is a lot worse. But to play in the SEC and win 7 games with a roster that's the South Carolina is not a good roster.
It's kind of a tall task.
Yeah, it's a very tough thing. That was I mean, I almost got screwed last week when they were up 30-3 against Texas A&M. I mean, that could have put me in a tough spot, but they ended up blowing that and losing.
Oh wow!
That, so, and then I had North Carolina under 6.5 wins too.
You didn't believe in Bill?
No, I just like the going from college to NFL or NFL to college and not coaching for a few years, like it just rarely works out.
And it usually means that you're pretty washed or like
Yeah.
you're looking
again,
for a reason for
and the
something.
ACC's bad too. Like the ACC is an awful conference, and the fact that they couldn't strum together that like wins, it's like really bad. They had a couple bad beats, but again, that's another one where I didn't take it seriously at all.
Do you like anything this weekend? Do you have any picks?
This week, I haven't really looked too much at the college board. Nothing game wise. College is a lot of times, obviously you can beat the market early in the week like anything else. But with so many games and there's a lot more injury news, a lot more variance, a lot more changes. Typical, I'll wait later in the week, but I got to look at the board. I did see Oregon and USC are matching up against each other, and that's like going to be not for a playoff spot. Oregon's probably a lock, but if USC wins, I mean, they're fighting for a playoff spot too. That spread was creeping up to 10 for Oregon, like minus 10.5. If that hits,
big number.
If that hits 10.5 or 10.5, USC's a really good team. Jaden Mava, the QB, he's really good. They got a lot of good guys. Oregon does too, but I think 10's a pretty big number. So it was creeping up there. I'm not sure, but I was waiting for that. So if that hits 10.5, I think that is an absolute pull.
We'll take a look at that in market. You can always drop those picks in the Discord as well.
Yeah, true. I can always shout those out. That's really all I was looking at. Maybe there's some rumors. Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith both will be out for this upcoming game against Rutgers to sit for the Michigan game. Spread's big. Anytime you see a 30-point spread for a Power 5 team, 2 Power 5 teams, that's pretty big. But again, Rutgers is bad. But those are Ohio State's 2 best players right there on the offensive side. So we'll monitor that. It was like 32.5. So we'll see once we get more news. Not saying I would take Rutgers, but without your 2 best players, we'll see. It's going to be tough to their passing philosophy will probably change a lot too. They'll probably stick to mostly the ground game or whatnot.
Right.
Without their 2 best receivers. But yeah, nothing in stone yet. But again, I'll send it over in the Discord. But I do have one of my best tickets remaining was Julian Sayin, the Ohio State quarterback, 18-1 to win the Heisman. He was like plus 100 or something. I think he's second in odds, like plus 150. So that was one of my better plays. Heisman's always, again, I know you don't bet college and whatnot, but Heisman throughout the year, especially this year, is always a super lucrative market. Like,
Yeah,
you
I mean,
can,
the market moves a lot
It
for
does.
that because, like, you know, what's nationally televised? What are people seeing?
Like Carson Beck at one point was 3-1 to win, and
Yeah.
then he loses to Louisville. You got Marcel Reed at Texas A&M, who was 25-1. That's a quick live bet right there. They're undefeated, going to be in the SEC championship game. Not saying he's going to win it, but like I pulled the trigger on it, 25-1. He's probably, I haven't looked, but probably 10-1 or something to win it now. But again, if he goes and wins the SEC championship game, they're 12-0. He dominates. He's having an unbelievable year. I mean, that's good value.
Yeah, you have Sayin second lead in the market to
Mendoza at Indiana. Yeah, I have him too. Bad number at like 5-1. But again, I've cornered the market
Kind of a
pretty
hedge.
well. Yeah, so I've cornered it pretty well. So we'll see. Hopefully. I mean, if it's Reed, Sayin, or Mendoza, I'm going to win something. So
there you
we'll
go.
see. But
18-1 on Julian Sayin. So at 2-1, you wouldn't really consider adding to that, right?
No. It's going to come down to the Big Ten championship game. I think whoever wins that is going to win. And honestly, Ohio State's an absolute buzzsaw. So
I haven't seen Indiana be this good in a long time, honestly.
It's been they were good last year, but again, before that, it's been tough. Again, college, there's so much variance.
Right,
you can flip in a switch, which they did. But that's it for the college end. But
all right.
Yeah, I think that's it. We had a lot of good topics, TFS, lines that we liked.
Yeah. No, really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's a good time.
Yeah, it's been a great time, and we'll look forward to seeing some of your tickets cash on Sunday.
Yeah, hopefully. I know you marked them down, so hopefully I can help the boys out. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's gonna do it for this episode of the Noise Podcast. Once again, thank you so much for listening. If you are watching or listening on YouTube, please make sure you like and subscribe. And if you're listening on Apple Music or Spotify, please remember to also rate and subscribe. Last thing, remember, the only place to get all of my picks in real time is in our Discord. Make sure you join the link in the description. That's going to do it for week 12 of the Noise Podcast. This is Max Gilson. Godspeed.